Hi YouTube world, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. I am Adrienne, I live in New York City, and I love playing with makeup. And this is my series, My Week in Makeup, where basically for a couple of weeks I've been playing with some of my stash, maybe even new products I've gotten in, and I jump on and let you know how it's going. I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm still a little bit on a spring cleaning, new year, new routine. And part of that is really just trying out products, testing them out, going head to head with certain products, and making some decisions about how I can reduce the size of all the makeup I have, because it's really just not fun. It's not fun for me, and I want to get to a part where I am having fun again with makeup. In fact, I did a huge declutter of my single shadows this week, which I will go over. And I feel like little by little, I'm gonna get there, and I'm gonna bring you all along on my journey as well. What I'm wearing on my face is the Pretty Fresh Foundation Moisturizer, Tinted Moisturizer with hyaluronic acid from Colourpop. I wear mine in the shade Light 6W. It is what I'm wearing today. Holy cow. This is beautiful. It doesn't have anything in it. I mean, yes, it has the hyaluronic acid, but it doesn't have SPF or anything. So you definitely want to wear your SPF under it. But I love it. It makes my skin look so good. So just as a refresher to those new on my channel, I am 45 years old. I have combo skin, so very dry around the perimeters of my face, oily in the T-zone, and I don't like full coverage makeup. I try not to wear full coverage makeup. I like my skin to peek through, so little imperfections and things I'm totally good with, you know, fine lines, wrinkles, things like that. It's called life. And so yeah, I just love the way this sits on the skin. It's really kind of the gel, it's like a nice gel formula, but it has a lot of pigmentation and it goes on just beautifully. I could probably use a little bit of a darker shade, but what I did today to kind of warm up my skin and darken this up is I used a fluffy brush and I whipped out my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush bronzer in number 2. Now this is very light. This is very, very light. I don't know who's buying the number 1 in this, but this has a really nice amount of warmth, and I love to take my giant e.l.f. brush, just swirl it in and just lightly dust it on the face. And it's a beautiful sort of like setting powder with also a tiny bit of color, so it could kind of bring down the starkness if you are using something that's like too blankifying. Is that a word? Like, you know, like when sometimes you wear a foundation and you're just like, wow, I really blanked myself out. I don't even know where to start. So that's just a really nice tip. Fluffy brush for that. I also use that same bronzer to contour, and in that case what I did was I chose a more dense brush. This is by EcoTools, really old, but it's a stipple brush, and this allows for me to concentrate in those areas where I want to sculpt, dimension. So this also was so impressive. I love this. This is the Shape Tape Cloud Coverage by Tarte. This does have SPF 15, but I would never trust the SPF in here. Not that it doesn't work, but really for the amount of SPF you have to put on your face for it to work, this would be way too much coverage. So, you know, like I kind of like the honesty of not having something and using a really good sunscreen, but that's fine. It still is very, very beautiful. It's almost moussey-like. And just like the Colourpop one, both of these perform so well around those trouble spots for me, which for me will be around my chin, just kind of grabbing dry skin, around my nose. I mean, some foundations just hate my nose and they won't even like grab the skin. It'll just slide off and then it'll look really patchy. And this doesn't do that. This has something in it, just like the Colourpop one, where it has some body, so it's kind of like fluffing onto itself and making my skin look really pretty. And then underneath those foundations, what I was using this week was the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Smoothing Serum. This is the new serum. Very pricey for what it is. I don't think you need this. I also really love the Smashbox Photofinish Primerizer. These are very similar. They're very liquidy, watery, and it gives you a light layer. Another product that's very similar to that is the Tarte Hydrating Primer. This one smells like coconut. I like those light lotion products. Some other foundations I tried these past couple of weeks. I brought out all my stick foundations. I have 4 of them. I'm letting go 2, I'm keeping 2. Well, the first one I am letting go of is the Ulta Beauty. This is the Moisturizing Foundation Stick. This is in light to medium neutral. This is all right. I do like the way it goes on. It's very creamy, but the wear time is not that great. It isn't, and I feel like it wears off patchy. Another one that I really like, but this color is way off and I've had it for too long. This is the Huda Beauty Foundation Stick. This is a very nice product. It can give you more of a medium, almost to full coverage. I have mine in Custard 220N. This is way too yellow and dark for me. I also have the Merit Complexion Stick. I have this one in the shade Linen. I like this. I don't love it though. I mean, it's fine. It's a lighter coverage. It's really easy to apply on the face and blend out. I like using my fingers or a brush, like a soft brush. The one I'm currently using is my Stila double-ended brush. I like this one because it's dense, but it's not too dense. There's flexibility, so I just find that it maneuvers well around my nose and blends out nicely, allows for a nice buff. So this one I'm keeping around for now because I also think I like stick foundations in the summer, and I want to get to warmer weather to see, because my skin behaves differently. It gets more oily. I sweat from my face. So some products that might be behaving now might not behave so well later. So I am keeping that in mind. The other product I have is the Tom Ford Traceless Foundation Stick. I have mine in 4.5 Ivory. This one's a tiny bit dark on me. What I love about this one is it's such a huge kind of surface area, and you can put your makeup on so quickly. I find it to be very creamy, and it could feel makeup-y, so you have to go in with a light hand. If you happen to use something like a light watery moisturizer underneath, I feel like you don't have to use as much. But if, let's say, you let your skincare really sink in and there's a lot of friction, there's not a lot of like dewiness in your skin, you put this on, I feel like it could look a little cakey. Some more complexion products I played with that I really enjoyed were these by Tarte. So this is the Sculpt Tape Contour Wand in the shade Soft Bronze. This one's very much like the Charlotte Tilbury, and it's easy to apply, easy to blend, good color. I also picked up their Key Largo Glow in Bronze Glow. This one here, it's a very liquidy product. You shake it up and it is very light. You can mix it with your foundation, moisturizer. It has a really beautiful blend. I am enjoying it. I'm still playing around with it. It's a little bit of a first impression because I've only used it a couple of times, but so far so good. I really do like it. Kind of reminds me of a product that Deciem used to make that I really loved, but that one was super expensive and yeah, kind of wily to use because it was in a dropper and could get very messy. From Tarte are these were the minis from the kit. This is the blush tape in the shade Pink. This one here is in Coral, and this is the Blush Light Wand. Product was too shimmery and not enough pigmentation, like the balance of that, and sometimes that just happens with those products. The other two Tarte blushes I really like is the Maracuja Juicy Blush in Rose. It's so beautiful. It wears so well, really has incredible staying power. I love this one. Now I have tried other shades of it and it can get a little too pigmented. This one is the perfect level of pigmentation, and it does become like a powder eventually. Like it will blend into your skin and become powder-like, so it's not gonna like be sticky, and and gross. This is a really nice product. I wanted to pick up one of their new shades of their Amazonian clay blushes. I've always thought their Amazonian clay blushes were okay, but I was never like over the moon with them. Well, I picked up Blushing Bride. It is what's on my cheeks right now. And this too has incredible staying power. I don't know. I mean, did they get better? I'm not sure, but it's a really pretty color. It's actually much softer than what it looks like in the pan. And I loved it. I loved it. I was really keen to pick up the shade Enchanted, which is more of a cinnamony color, but it's been sold out everywhere. So I went with my second kind of pick of the new shades, and this Blushing Bride is really beautiful. So I would recommend this. Another one that I really enjoyed, and I picked this up in store a few weeks ago. This is by Fenty. It is a new shade of the Cheeks Out cream blush. This is Raisin Standardz, and it's this color here, which looks super intimidating, but it's not. It's meant to be a universal shade, and it really is. I just use a stipple brush. I go in, and whatever product I pick up, I just lightly press it into my skin, and it just creates such a pretty, more vivid look. Kind of like you're a little cold. It's just really beautiful, and it does have really good staying power. I've always liked the Cheeks Out formula, and I used to have a few of them, but I will say that after some time they do get old and they start to underperform. Technically they have a shelf life of 12 months. I've kept mine for way too long, so I had to declutter them. If you're shopping around for a really good long wear cream product, that's a good one. One that's falling short now that I'm really looking at longevity, I've tried two more colors in the Merit Flush Balm. This is in Mood, and this one here is in Stockholm. Stockholm actually lasted quite a bit, but it wore down patchy. And Mood also has a bit of a staining capacity, but also a bit of a patchy wear down. Like I will find like a piece of my skin is sort of still intact and then bald spot and another part. I don't know what's happening. I'm not touching my face. This doesn't happen with other cream products. A great cream product that I played around with is this Huda Beauty Cheeky Tint in Rebel Red. This I would have imagined would have stained unevenly and then worn down in a kind of freakish fashion, but it doesn't. It doesn't. This is beautiful. This is also a really beautiful product. I also put it on my lips. Gorgeous. This product I picked up by Bobbi Brown. This is the Crushed Cream Color for cheeks and lips in Pink Punch. This I never even saw in the United States, but I entered that membership delivery for Selfridges and to buy some Bobbi Brown products that were exclusive to them. And I saw this and I was like, ooh, this seems like up my alley. And it's this, it has a good applicator considering the potency of the product, but it is so crazy pigmented. There is the color, and I love this color. I love kind of a coral watermelon pink, but oh boy, it is really hard to apply evenly. It is not the best for a lip because it is extremely tacky, and on the cheek it will pull up out anything. I don't know who this is for. I don't think this did very well. It's just very sticky. It's a very sticky product, but you see that one dot, look how much pigment there is. There's just a ton of pigment. It's a very pretty color, but again, I could not get this to work. Even putting this on my hand, it was like way too fussy, and it stays kind of gummy in a way. So not for me. Oh, one thing I want to report. I'm not a concealer connoisseur, but holy cow, this is by Natasha Denona in N4. This is the creamiest concealer, and it's so powerful. Like all you need, and I'm wearing it today, the tiniest dot here, right here, and right on my little friend here. And I just blend it out and it's, yeah, it's really incredible. And like no creasing, no creasing. And I didn't powder. I didn't powder because that Colourpop one kind of leaves my skin very almost velvety. But wow, incredible. I think a little hard to find the right shade, but I'm glad I went with N4. I think it's a good shade for me. But believe the hype. This is good. I even wore this one day when I was wearing my Just Super Goop Daily Dose, one of my favorite sunscreens ever. Has Bakuchiol. It's beautiful if you want a glowy, dewy, yummy thing. And it is a mineral sunscreen. Just wearing this and a little bit of this, and I see why people have even said this could be a foundation, like the tiniest amount and you cover your whole freaking face. It's really, really something. Some more blushes that I went through. I really do like these, but I do think that they've changed a bit in texture and that they do disrupt makeup underneath. And those are the blushers by Juicy Pang. I have 3 of the shades. They're all very pretty. They're like very watery, easy to apply, kind of blends out, but I don't find that they're long wearing. And again, that's sort of like now one of the criteria I'm really looking at as I'm trying to dwindle down my collection is, does it stay on my face? How is it? I never really paid attention to that before consciously making this effort is beyond me. Beyond me. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't pay attention, but now I'm paying attention. Other ones that don't kind of stay on so much are these by e.l.f. and neither does this one by Makeup Revolution. 2 mascaras that I tried this week. The Tarte Man Eater in brown. I'm still on the fence about this one. It's very natural. I thought it was, and I thought it was going to be more brown. I don't know what I think of it yet. This one, I know what I think about it. This is the Give Beauty mascara. It is what I'm wearing on my eyes right now. Wowza, this is dramatic, and it's very pretty. If I'm gonna be nitpicky, I will just say you have to take a little bit of time to apply it. It has an interesting wand, and the product itself is like slightly gummy. And that little wand, you can like grab the tips of your lashes or the bottoms of your lashes. It's just a very pretty, dramatic mascara. And I do like it. Another Give Beauty product that I'm trying today is the eyeliner. I picked up the Line It Up in Settle Brown. That's a terrible name. Kind of freaking name is that? Settle Brown, like settle down, not Saddle Brown. Like weird. Well, who cares? This is great. This has stayed in my waterline, and not a lot stays in this waterline. Yeah, it's there. I actually also put it right on top and blurred it out with a brush. I don't usually wear eyeliner over my entire lid like as a liner, just because I don't have a lot of space. You know, if I look at you directly, there's like no space. There's no space before my hood starts. And so I don't like to cover that up, but I did today just to see if it worked, and it works. It gives you enough time to put it on, and it's super creamy. It glides on. Let me show you. It glides on perfectly well. Like it's a beautiful creamy formula, not too creamy that you're gonna slip off of like where you want it to go, but it does let you blend it out with a brush, so it's not gonna like dry down too quickly. Really impressed. So if you're shopping for a liner and you have super oily eyelids like I do, and my whole like waterline is oily, it's an oil slick there, you might really enjoy this. I am wearing the Say lip oil right now. That's what's on my lips. And I did pick up from Tarte one of those Maracuja lip plumps, juicy lip plumps in the shimmer. I got Berry Shimmer Glass. Let me put this on for you. And it is a metallic berry. That is it there. What do we think? I think it's terribly unflattering. Like, I feel like it grabs Every line is like pronounced where it wasn't before with that Say Lip Oil. It has that zinginess, that cooling effect because it is the plump formula. But the weirdest thing is this formula, I don't understand how they could just keep calling things like the juicy Maracuja, juicy anything. There's nothing juicy about this. It doesn't have that really kind of thick formulation where it's coating your lips and it's really high gloss. This is sticky and thin. It's like a super thin, it's like a lipstick. It's a lipstick. And actually, lipsticks have been doing this better from Lancome and Estee Lauder for years. This kind of like a frost effect, even MAC. That's what they did here. They wanted to bring back frost lipsticks, and I think, number one, they went overboard. I wouldn't recommend it. Or I guess I will just say, know what you're getting yourself into. How I would make this work is I would top it off with an oil. And then it makes it look a lot nicer. I'm actually topping it off with the Say. And once I do that, it makes it so much better. I don't know why they lost the gloss in the formula. That's bizarre to me. Let's get into eyeshadows. Let me pull out everything I did. The focus of this is to do a little bit of a mini declutter, show you what I chose to declutter, because as I've started to play around with eyeshadow again, and I've committed to using my Natasha Denona palettes, especially palettes I haven't really formulated an opinion on. So let's talk about the palettes I used and what I'm choosing to keep and what I'm not gonna keep. So I started this week's journey with the Natasha Denona My Dream palette. Beautiful palette. Loved so many of my looks. It has these gorgeous deep tones, the black, the berry. I feel like this is, if you like peaches and berries and things, but want some great neutrals, you would really like this. I could see why this is called like her dream palette. It really did feel like a one-stop shop, and I wore this about 3 times and I enjoyed all the looks. I thought that this might be a really interesting companion palette. This is the retro palette. They are different, though I feel like they're complementary. And so if you have both of them, I feel like you're really covered, especially if you love like the pinky neutrals. Like together, this is like quite a library. There's some overlap with the bronzes, and one of these I'm wearing on my eyelid, this one right here. No, actually it's this one down here. But these are very similar. This color, very similar to some colors in here. So do I think you need both? No, but I'm happy to have both. Still playing around with this one. I think I prefer this one, but I'm not sure yet. And then there's the Love palette, which I have done a full video on, playing with this the whole week. Now this is much more vivid. It has such really just some unique shades, and I just think this is sort of the pop companion to either of those other two. So I feel like this one is still very unique. Lastly, of my Natasha Denona, I was so excited to finally get into the Trio Chrome palette. This is one of the large size palettes by Natasha Denona. And although I loved the purple look I created, I love these purple tones because they're on the cooler side, on this side, especially with this flip. These multi-chromes are so lackluster, and they're lackluster because I have so many beautiful multi-chromes from so many indie brands, and just even though she's charged $100 and whatever for this palette, she didn't give us the luster in those. It's really, really actually quite disappointing. Disappointing enough that I'm gonna declutter this palette. These are my most magical shades all put into one place. These are my Clionette shadows and my JD Glow. These are gorgeous and I need to dip into them more, and the only way I'm going to do that is if I get rid of mediocrity. And for me, this was just a very mediocre release. A basic palette that I picked up that I really enjoyed wearing is this one by Tarte. This is the Amazon palette. I picked this up a bit ago and I did wear it a few days to work and I really liked my looks. I mean, sometimes I just need something basic for work and this gives it to me. And it has that amazing vanilla smell. I really like the pops of color in it. I just feel it's very utilitarian. It's very sleek, pretty. I have no complaints about this. Yes, is it basic and boring? Yeah, it is. And maybe I will get to a point where I'm gonna get rid of some basic and boring, but until then, I'm gonna enjoy that one. So then, because I was playing around with that Natasha Denona, I was like, wait a second. These colors kind of remind me of the Wine and Only palette from Colourpop, which I love. I've used up a ton. It is quite old and I'm finally ready to part with because some of those colors are now reflected in that. And like I said, this is super old. In fact, I tried to play around with it and the colors are not performing the way that they did once. So goodbye. And then it made me kind of look at all my Colourpop palettes and I don't have very many. I found that I did have a lot of duplicates. Still really love this one from Star Wars, The Mandalorian, the Child palette. Love this one. Not sure why I have Sage the Day. It's not as good. I have better shades than that and I just prefer this one. Additionally, this one called Glow Getter from, I barely touched it. And again, I have these shades and this, although nice and it performs well, I don't need it. The other one from Colourpop that I really liked when I initially got it, but the formula's changed a bit, is the Shell Shock Pressed Powder palette. This one, it's a really pretty, fun pastel color one. I have all of these shades in another palette, but when I did try to use this again, it's not where it should be. Another couple of palettes that I chose to declutter. This one by MAC. I really like these 6-pan palettes, but this one, no, this was the winter release. It's this one here. I just found the quality to be very subpar, different from the quality of the other 6-pans. And this thing, I've wanted to get rid of this probably since the second time I used it. This is by Pat McGrath. It's the 6. This is the Mothership 6 palette, Midnight Sun. I've hardly touched this. I have such a relationship with this, but anyhow, this is the palette. It's very pretty. It's, yes, everything works the way it should. It just doesn't bring me joy, neither the color story nor really using the palette. It is so heavy. It's beyond my price point. I should have never picked it up. And so then also playing around with everything made me realize, like, when I started my YouTube channel, my focuses was really utilizing my single shadows and what I wanted to do was, when I saw an eyeshadow release, an eyeshadow palette that was attracting me, was really kind of just dupe it in my collection. But I strayed. I got lured in to eyeshadow palettes, and truthfully, now having the collection that I do, I actually prefer eyeshadow palettes over singles. I really do. I think it helps my brain. I would love to say that putting on makeup daily or when I want to is always a creative process, but the truth is it's not. I love when it is, but sometimes it really isn't. It really isn't. It's just get it out the door, get it on my face, and help me make a decision. And I feel like palettes do that. They curate a look for you, and I could stay within some boundaries and have fun. All of these palettes were in my drawer. They were all filled with single shadows. I showed you my special shades, so I've curated this. I am keeping this. I love this. And then I took the rest of my shadows. I took all of this and I'm only going to keep this. Actually, I broke it out into, this Colourpop one has all these Colourpop shades. So I made a little palette here. This one here has shades from Luxie, as well as Pretty Little Things, Pretty Face or something. Also has some Terra Moon, some ABH. So this is a little bit of a mix. These are a mix of some Colourpop, depotted Colourpop here, Divina Shadows, and Colored Rain. And these are all Sydney Grace. These are 3 full palettes full of Sydney Grace. Some of these shades I haven't even touched, really. So I'm gonna disinfect this all. I'm gonna put this on my Poshmark because I think this could make a makeup artist so happy, and I'd rather they go to a good home than to stay here. So these are all Sydney Grace. I got rid of quite a lot, over 150 shadows. That's a lot. And here's what I'm keeping. I will show. These are all the matte shadows I'm keeping for now. I am going to experiment and make sure that I'm actually using the shadows I've kept. These are some other kind of shimmery shades that I really love. And this is jam-packed with shimmer shades that I adore. A lot of these have really beautiful flips to them. Now that I have lessened my collection, I think I am going to challenge myself probably in the springtime to revisit my 30 days and 30 shadows. That's how my whole channel started. Oh, that is it. That is a crazy amount. I mean, it took me like 5 hours to get to that place with my single shadows, but I feel so much better. I had to take out that lip product and put the Say oil back on. So much better, so much better. So hope you enjoyed that. Consider hitting the thumbs up if you did. Say hi down below with any questions or comments, and consider subscribing if you want to keep following me on this journey. And I hope everyone has a great start to the week, and we'll talk soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.